Acceleres presents. This is the second in the series. It's focused on System Center Orchestrator 2012 learning resources. So my name is April Tork. I'm the founder of Acceleres, and I'll be your moderator today. I'd like to welcome our guest speaker, James Stanley. So James is a senior consultant architect with extensive experience implementing large-scale, complex business solutions with a primary focus on IT workflow, monitoring, and manageability. So James has both deep System Center technical and communication skills. So thanks for joining us today, James. Would you like to tell us a little about what you're going to be presenting today?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're really looking at today is the plethora, I call it, of web resources and learning resources that are available. And we're going to start with the training resources that Acceleres offers, and we'll go into some of the resources that you can find online in Microsoft's offering, as well as some third-party communities and other areas that may actually help you in implementing and learning about System Center Orchestrator. Excuse me.
Great. Well, let's just get right into it then. Let's just take it away then.
So one of the things that I wanted to start talking about is there's not a lot of training available, but what we're going to cover here is, and System Center Orchestrator 2012 is obviously new for folks, but if anybody who's actually used this product or it looks familiar to them, it's because it used to be called Palace, and it was acquisition by Microsoft, and they branded it and made it added a bunch of content, made a bunch of integration packs with Microsoft products, and created a sort of a suite of tools that was called System Center Orchestrator, or System Center, and Orchestrator is part of that offering. So what we're going to be going over today is the training that's available from Acceleres, Microsoft resources, the fairly rich web communities out there, and the blogosphere for folks that are interested in that as well. So, and then we'll have a Q&A at the end. So for training, there's, like I said, very limited resources there. Acceleres does offer some excellent training for Orchestrator, both for the newbie user and folks who are fairly familiar with Palace and workflow systems like that. So we've got a couple of levels of training that we do offer. We also try to make it as easy for folks as possible. So we offer virtual instructor-led training. We offer computer-based training, and we have some virtual hands-on lab, and we do have instructor-led classes that we offer as well. And so I want to show you guys, I want to show you what's available on the Acceleres website. And inside of our training website, you'll see some server manager stuff. But can they see my?
Yeah.
As you also notice, we do have some what we call Scorch, which is System Center Orchestrator training. You can download the syllabus, and you can also go to shop.acceleres.com to actually sign up for either the CBT classes or the instructor-led classroom. So I want to show you where in that you can go. And so we've got a couple of featured products out here. One is the Service Manager, which I'm not going to just cover, but also there's using System Center Orchestrator for runbook designers, and it's a 1 day or 2 day class that you can take. There's a virtual lab that you can also do, and there's the 1 day class really is not much lab, and it's mostly just instructor-led content. But the 2 day class really does have a well-designed lab that you guys can use to teach.
So just a point on that, you can download this for free from the website and give it a try as a 1 day trial for the CBT. We also have online labs, so those are served up over RDP, over HTTPS, so you can get to those through corporate firewalls, etc. So it's just I think what's unique about this training is it covers actual use cases. We take you through the tool, but then we make sure, instead of focusing a lot on the installation, which we find to be a non-event, it's the actual use of the tool and how you get around it. So.
Yeah, we're also participating in the development of System Center 2012 Unleashed. If you guys are Orchestrator Unleashed, if you guys are familiar with the Unleashed books, we're participating in. I think that's due to be out early next year.
Peter, Nick are on the line. If you could maybe comment as to what you think is the latest availability for this Service Manager Orchestrator Unleashed.
I know with Service Manager, this is Pete, by the way, they were waiting for SP1. They didn't want to publish the book before SP1, and I keep hearing SP1 is right around the corner, but it's been right around the corner for a while.
Yeah.
Nick, you may have more info or additional info.
No, same thing. Yeah, they were waiting for Service Pack 1 to start writing the Service Manager Unleashed book. The Orchestrator Unleashed book. Again, I think they're going to wait until Service Pack 1 to release the book. Most of that book's been written, though, so it should be available in the next couple of months, I would think.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I thought it was going to, it was probably in the early 2013. Yeah. So there's also a large amount of information that's been published on Microsoft's internal websites, or I'm sorry, Microsoft's websites. One of your best friends is going to be TechNet, and TechNet from both a blog and a technical reference perspective. So on Microsoft's TechNet site, they have everything that you need in order to understand and deploy Orchestrator. If you want to read technical articles, there's getting started checklists. There's what do you need to do to start planning your deployment. There's an administrative guide here, and then there's some technical articles about using the console, designing runbooks. And I think this is all it's great. It's a great amount of information. But I also know that I don't know about everybody else, but I'm one of those folks that have to actually do something in order for it to stick. Mm-hmm. And so this is really good technical information, but I think it really is helpful to go through a virtual lab or do an instructor-led course, because once you actually are in it and doing it and running through the scenarios, it tends to stick a little better for folks, from my perspective. So all of these links are in the presentation that we uploaded. So when we refer to them, anytime that you guys want to in the future go back to this, you'll be able to do so from the presentation. So this is the TechNet information. I'm not going to walk through all of this because there's a lot of information here, but this is Microsoft's classic TechNet product information. There's also a website called myITforum, which is also sponsored by Microsoft. And what it has right now is it basically is saying, here's some resources for you, and Microsoft's Virtual Academy is another source for training for their products, and they don't have a Virtual Academy training for Orchestrator yet. They're promising that in somewhere near in the future, but there's no date to my knowledge. And there's also, as you can see, Microsoft or Acceleres is listed for CBT resources, so our links are in here. There's a training class that you can sign up for if you want to apply to Minnesota, offered by a company called TrueSec. But as you can see, there's some fairly limited amount of training, and I do believe that Acceleres offers the best options for you, the on-demand option as well as the instructor-led courses. So, sorry. Thank you. Yeah. Additional resources, and I'm not going to launch the product site, but there is a product site for the System Center product suite. There's not a lot of information up there around Orchestrator at this point, but it'll give you a good idea about what the entire suite of System Center offerings is and how they interact with each other. Certainly in a hybrid scenario where this product was really focused on the traditional data center, folks' traditional data center migration into private clouds, virtualization, public clouds like Azure offerings, that sort of thing. And there was a lot of work put into the entire System Center suite to cover those scenarios, and that's really what this product site is about, is talking about how does Orchestrator and how do all these other products play into this sort of hybrid scenario that folks are finding themselves in with regards to public cloud offerings and traditional data center infrastructure. There is a link for the Virtual Academy, although the Virtual Academy offering that's up there right now is really Service Manager focused, and it says how do you integrate Orchestrator with Service Manager. So that's really the only content from a Virtual Academy perspective that's offered out there right now. There's no System Center, or there's no Orchestrator specific content. It's really just here's Service Manager and here's how you integrate with Orchestrator.
And for those who haven't done Virtual Academy, is this free training?
Yeah, it's absolutely.
And labs?
Yeah, it's free training and labs, online labs, and it's actually one of the things I want to mention is that Acceleres is actually moving to a model where you won't have to RDP anymore, and the labs will be launched on demand, and the same offering that we're moving to for our labs is the one that's behind the Virtual Academy, and so essentially your experience will be the same once we migrate to that new solution. Your experience, with the Virtual Academy and with Acceleres' labs will be the same. You'll get a URL link, and you'll have some sort of time bomb on there where you can go in and do the training that you want, and that URL is sort of session based, and it'll expire, and it's based on your credentials. So.
Okay, cool.
One of my favorite sites, one of the sites that as a System Center Orchestrator technologist that I use one of the most often is Codeplex. It's a huge Orchestrator community out there, and this Orchestrator community on Codeplex is incredibly active. And what you're going to find here is you're going to find runbook samples, you're going to find product documentation, you're going to find community developed integration packs. Mm-hmm. And you're going to find there's quite a bit of content here that is really, really helpful. So if you notice across the top bar, there's source code, there's downloads, there's documentation, there's discussion groups. There's actually an issue tracker for folks that are finding issues with either the stuff that's presented here or within their own environments. Mm-hmm. This is a really powerful site for folks to once they get sort of up and running and understand what Orchestrator can provide them to jumpstart their implementation. And some of the more common integration packs are the ones that I would say you absolutely have to have. Aside from the Microsoft published ones, are there's a data integration pack. There's a data integration pack, there's a text manipulation integration pack, there's one for Microsoft SQL, and there's an Ops Manager extensibility kit that's not part of the original Ops Manager pack, mm-hmm. And there's one for PowerShell script execution. These are community developed integration packs that folks have commented on and said, yeah, these are really quality. So they posted them here, and these are really good resources for folks. Like I said, once you've installed Orchestrator and you get up and running and you kind of know what you want to do with it and you've got your deployment ready, to sort of jumpstart your implementation by extending the integration packs. And for those folks who don't know what an integration pack is, Orchestrator is really just a workflow design, design and implementation system, and it doesn't really do anything until you tell it to do something. And these integration packs are ways for you to. The power of Orchestrator is connecting a myriad of applications with each other. As we know, our IT environments are these large ecosystems, and we've got monitoring systems deployed, we've got ticketing systems deployed, we've got management systems deployed, and we've got network stuff deployed, and it's this myriad of different applications and offerings. And a lot of times a business scenario has to traverse all of those systems in order to be successful. And what Orchestrator does is it integrates those systems together seamlessly, and then manages the workflow in order to satisfy that business scenario. So the integration packs are really about saying, okay, if I need to do a task in SQL, instead of having to write that in code, I'm going to use this task inside of this integration pack, and it'll pretty much do it for me. Is there any questions so far? From the phone? Okay. So Codeplex is really probably going to be your home base once you get this implemented.
Yeah, for sure. Like you can see this text manipulation integration pack. That's going to add a set of standard activities to go into string manipulation. You know, as you get into it, you're going to find things like, okay, the standard activities aren't doing it for me. I need date and time manipulation activities. That's where you might write your own integration pack, but it's always best to look and see here at Codeplex what's already available and build on that. But it's just a natural course of events as you move into heavier and heavier coding to do the work you want to do with Orchestrator.
Yeah, I'm a sort of firm believer, especially when you're, if you're on a, tight budget and time schedule, that, whatever you can beg, borrow, and steal in order to get your job done, if it's already out there, you should, you'd use it rather than write your own.
Yeah.
There's also a YouTube channel by Charles Joy. And Charles Joy, for those folks who haven't worked with Opalis in the past, Charles Joy was a senior programmer and PM inside of the Opalis organization. When they moved to Microsoft, he maintained his position as a senior PM, and he's done a series of these 8-minute videos that walk through various scenarios from just installing, and a lot of these are based on Opalis, but there's enough similarity within Orchestrator to make this valuable. And so there's a series of these Charles Joy videos, and his channel's really got a lot of Orchestrator content in it. And as you can see, by scrolling down, there's a bunch of these little 8-minute videos. I mean, he's got a 8-minute video on creating a Connect runbook. Okay, so I mean some of this stuff is right, but there's also designing PowerShell, and there's a ton of videos out here, these 8-minute demos. Anytime you see this OIS, that's the Opalis version, but again, there's enough similarities that these videos are really valuable in terms of just sort of seeing how things are done.
And there's a doc in the doc set. There's a glossary mapping that maps the Opalis terminology to the Orchestrator terminology. So
correct.
If you're not familiar with the old Opalis, you'll use that to translate.
And for those folks who are, sysops folks, I'm sure everybody's familiar with the 4 sysops. There's a description on 4 sysops that sort of describes the System Center 2012 integration packs. And it's an article that's on SysOp's website, and it's just an interesting reference because for folks who don't know, there's not a lot of documentation, unfortunately, on Microsoft's website in terms of what these integration packs do. And this guy does a little bit better job of going in and telling you, from a layman's term perspective, what these integration packs are going to do for you.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So, the blogosphere, right? Everybody's familiar with this. I mean, again, back to my comment earlier, which was, TechNet's kind of going to be your best friend when it comes to this kind of information. This blog is run by. Are we on mute?
Oh, no.
Okay. This blog is run by the actual engineering organization that's responsible for producing System Center Orchestrator. So you're going to get the people that are actually responding in this blog are the folks who are actually the technical experts in terms of Orchestrator. So this is a really good blog. Now there's a number of sub blogs under this that are about Orchestrator as well. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the active technical community. So this is a really good start point for you guys to see what the engineers are talking about. But then you've got, the engineers are one side of the house, and you've got the people who have actually implemented this, who are talking with each other and figuring out problems, which can be helpful as well. There's another blog. There's a couple other blogs. There's one again on myITforum. It's called Orchestratopolis. It's got a fairly active community, and Core Tech as well. I put this in there just because there's a couple of interesting videos on Core Tech in this blog that may be interesting to folks. And again, it's similar to the Charles Joy content, but it's got a little bit of a different twist to it. And there's some Orchestrator tips and tricks on here and things of that nature. So this is sort of all of the sort of blogosphere activity that I would push people to. I mean, there's obviously, if you Bing whatever, Bing Orchestrator blogs, you're going to find a lot of content out there. You're going to find stuff out there, but I'm trying to show you the content that I believe has the level of expertise that'll help you guys do your job, rather than somebody blogging something that's either not true or not supported by engineering.
Yeah.
So I know I went through that quickly. Do we have this is your chance to ask questions, and maybe make comments about other sources for the community that you found that you think are interesting, and that sort of thing. So
yeah, what I'd really like to hear. This is Dave. What resources have you found useful? What's been useful to you in terms of getting Orchestrator up and running and producing some value for you? And I don't know, Pete, Nick, I don't know if you want to comment on some of the what you've done with Orchestrator to support Service Manager implementations, what's actually been useful, where you found it, etc.
Yeah, the only other resource I'd say, there's a number of other companies whose business it is to develop integration packs for you. So if you don't have the skill set to develop your own integration packs and you can't find one on Codeplex that's available freely, there's companies, one I know is called Calverion.
Yeah.
There's a few companies like that out there whose business it is to develop custom integration packs on an as-needed basis for folks. So if you have a homegrown tool or a tool that's maybe less common that there isn't a community for integration packs out there for, they'll come in and build those integration packs for you so you can integrate those tools in the Orchestrator as well.
And if I recall correctly, Calverion, they're an offshoot of the original Palace, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and I know Avanade does a lot of that kind of custom development work as well.
Okay. Any other resources you want to comment on, Pete?
I wouldn't comment on resources. It may be a little off topic for this discussion. I just find it's important to come back to the remark that James made earlier, that Orchestrator doesn't really do anything until you make it do something. And I think what we're finding is there's a lot of interest in Orchestrator, yet not a lot of knowledge about what it can do. And perhaps all the better or all the more reason for people to go out and experiment with it, to learn more about it, to see what it could potentially do for them. But I find that it's the use cases that will drive Orchestrator use much more so than perhaps any other part of the System Center suite.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I tongue-in-cheek kind of call it a fifth-generation development platform, and that's kind of what it is. It is in essence sort of a development platform. So understanding what it is that you're trying to accomplish is sort of key to implementing Orchestrator, right? So I mean, I can say that some of the more common scenarios are things like, patch orchestration, integration with ticketing systems such as Service Manager,
right.
Self-healing by integrating with System Center Operations Manager, bare metal, data center provisioning, cloud provisioning. Those are the more common Orchestrator business scenarios that I know of.
Yeah, yeah. And I think as you get into this, this is why the learning is important. There's things like, okay, I'm used to having to document my code, make sure people understand it well. There's these little add-ons that people have written to help document, because it's great, it's graphical, but you can't necessarily see what's behind the graphics. So there's little add-ons people have written to go, okay, let's make sure we can document our code. This is what this does. As I said, integration packs, etc., that help you get where you need to be. It's tough when you're trying to get a point A to point B, and you're expecting the date to be an XYZ format and numeric, and it's a string, or vice versa, and you don't have a place to get from point A to point B, and then you can find something that someone's written that you can latch onto, a set of date routines, etc. It's useful.
Yeah, and what this really helps with is really increasing your time to market, or decreasing your time to market, I should say.
Yeah.
Right, and because it's essentially drag and drop development, and if anybody who's ever used the old SQL, I forgot what that was called, the Business Development Studio, where you sort of had these drag and drop icons. It's very similar to that. It's very similar to the to Citrix sort of workflow kind of offerings. I mean, it really is a drag and drop to accomplish a task, and especially with the power of the integration packs, where you don't have to really write code to integrate with adjacent systems. You can get to market fairly quickly. Now, depending on how complex the scenario is, if there's not activities that are covered in that, doing that custom development may require you going to a third party, going to third party for that, for that integration pack development, or if you have those resources in house, then you can do that. But the time to market on certain activities is very quick.
Yeah. Okay. Any further questions? Well, listen, thanks for joining today. I just want to let you know that this video will be available up on our YouTube channel immediately following the broadcast. Give us about an hour to get it up there. Also, there's a set of a series of these that are going to cover month to month. It's the third Thursday of the month. Varying topics from System Center Service Manager to Orchestrator. You can find that up on the Eventbrite site. And if you've got any questions for us or need help with any of this stuff, just let us know. You can contact us at info@acceleres.com. Call us at that number. Be happy to help you with whatever you've got. So, hey, thanks for your time, James. It was really useful. I appreciate it. And as I said, this presentation will be available up on YouTube shortly. Thanks, all.
All right, thanks, Matt.